My name is Sarah Blakemore. I am a rhetoric and writing major at the University of Texas and a junior. I am the coach of the Moot Court team, the undergraduate Moot Court team, here at the University of Texas. And this is a video about our recruitment as well as some more information about our team for the season of 2021 to 2022. I want to start off by talking a little bit about our team. Our team was started in 2019 by my friend Shelby Hobum. She was very dedicated to providing affordable way for students to prepare for law school, and that is hopefully what we've created with Moot Court. And I came on as coach that same year when I transferred from the University of Texas when I transferred from Texas A&M to the University of Texas. The fundamentals of our team are, of course, to provide affordable way for students to prepare for law school, to teach fundamentals of the Constitution, as well as the principles and the history, the precedents of our Supreme Court of the United States, and finally, to develop student speaking skills and rhetoric. So starting out with what Moot Court is. Moot Court is similar to mock trial. You may have heard of it in that context. Moot Court is a competitive mock version of a Supreme Court argument. So how does it work? You have a partner with you during all your argumentation. So you and that partner will each present a 10-minute argument on either the side of the petitioner, which is the appellate in our cases, or the respondent, which is the appellee. So you have to provide 2 arguments, one for each side, but you'll only be asked to present one side of the argument in competition. In the competition, you have judges who are labeled justices because this is the Supreme Court, who interrupt you at any time to ask questions about your argument, which is what makes Moot Court so interesting. It's very dynamic because you can, of course, prepare a 10-minute speech. However, when justices start asking you questions, you have to go off your written outline and explain answers as they come. So competitions are a tournament structure. You're usually paired for the first 3 rounds randomly in a qualifier. So from those 3 rounds, most of the time you can move on if you win 2 of your 3 rounds. There are usually 2 justices for each round, so you have to win both ballots. If there are 3, you have to win 2 of the 3 ballots. So you compete in one qualifying regional tournament, and that will qualify you for national tournament, which is the top 100 teams in the United States and Canada. So in these tournaments, usually we travel to law schools around the state of Texas, which are Texas A&M University and Texas Tech University. Both of their law schools put on tournaments for undergraduate Moot Court. And these tournaments are multiple days. The qualifying rounds are the first day, and then when you move on, if you move on, you are given the opportunity to compete in bracket play the second day of the tournament. So of course we have experienced a lot of tumult in our lives because of the pandemic. Moot Court was taken online this year. We had Zoom tournaments, but COVID permitting, we should, for the season of 2021, be able to compete in person at these law schools. So our competitive season starts May 5th when the new case problem is released. You take the whole summer to prepare arguments and learn about the cases that are in the mock case. Qualifying tournaments happen anywhere from October to December. I believe the last tournament is on December the 5th, and then all of the qualifiers from each qualifying tournament, which is usually the top 25% of each tournament, qualifies for the national tournament, which is the second weekend of January, right after school begins. So how do you prepare for a Moot Court case? So each mock case has has 2 sides, which of course one is for your partner and one is for you. You don't truly have to prepare both sides of the argument. But for purposes of rebuttal, which is the last portion of the petitioner argument, you do have to know facts from both sides of the cases. Both sides of the cases have about 10 Supreme Court or other appellate federal courts or the Supreme Court of some state. In these cases, you'll have to read the court's opinion as well as the syllabus and know each of these cases. So studying the relevant laws and legal tests, we know that frequently something that comes up in moot court, especially in our civil cases, is the level of scrutiny that the court should apply, which are rational basis, intermediate scrutiny, and strict scrutiny. Though that is a legal test that we frequently have to use. There are other legal tests that come up every single year, but that is the main one. You have to write 2 arguments, one side for the petitioner and one for the respondent, as well as, of course, know everything so that you can do a good rebuttal argument. Moot court is really difficult, specifically because you don't know what questions the justices are going to ask when you get there. So one of the ways that you prepare is our team creates a question bank where we use every single person on the team to ask and write down all the possible questions that could be asked during one of your rounds. And you have to prepare answers that have cites of cases and cite precedent or their legal tests with each one of these answers. Memorization of the speeches is not required because you do have to go off outline so frequently. However, it's easiest and you score the most points when you memorize your speeches. When we have in-person moot court tournaments, it's kind of a power play for someone to come up to the podium with no note cards or no notes. And that is something that justices take note of. So we as a team recommend that you memorize both of your 10-minute speeches. And at the end of the season, after the oral competition is completed, you will be asked to write with your partner a 10-page brief. So your partner writes 10 pages, you write 10 pages, and that equals a 20-page brief in the Supreme Court format with the Universal Code of Citations, which is used in the Supreme Court as well. So do we have a tryout? This is probably the most frequent question I get. We do not have a tryout. Everyone is welcome at our meetings because one of our principles is to help people learn about the Constitution. We want anyone to be able to participate in our discussions about the Supreme Court and their precedents. But I will say that we do not register people for competitions unless you're adequately prepared. Being not prepared at a moot court tournament is probably the worst thing that you could ever imagine when people are firing questions at you and you don't know the answers to them. It can be quite nerve-wracking. So we try to prepare you as much as possible, and we will let you compete when you're prepared. So preparedness on our team is judged by a council of all the returning members. So every single person who has previously competed in a oral competition will just give you a binary answer of yes, you're prepared, or no, and then the majority wins. So if a majority of the returning members think that you are prepared enough to compete in a competition, then you will be allowed to register, and we register you for these competitions. The reason why we don't have a tryout is because moot court is incredibly difficult and it takes a lot of preparation. So having a tryout would basically only let us know what your speaking skills are. And personally, I had no speaking skills before I started moot court, and we can definitely help you. The Speaking Center at the University of Texas is also a great resource for that. But because you have to prepare and know the details of the current case problem, we do not have a tryout. And we just want anyone who wants to make the commitment over the summer to start studying the cases, we are happy to welcome you to our team. So time commitment, of course, is another popular question we get with moot court. It takes about 3 to 5 hours during the summer. We have once a week meetings starting in July. That gives us about a month or 2 months to start preparing the cases and curriculum for the year. And then during the fall, once school starts, we have practice twice a week, and your time commitment increases significantly to 7 to 10 hours a week for preparing. This includes anything from memorizing your speeches or simulating Moot with us. So we do practice competitions, sometimes with the university, with Texas A&M University, which is the Moot Court team that I came from previously. And meeting times as well as scrimmage times are just decided by polling the members, and we pick times in which that work best for all our members. How much does Moot Court cost? Because one of our principles is providing low cost pre-law education to people, competition members are only charged $50 for our competitions. And this money is just used for competition registration. Registration can range anything from $75 to $100, and because there's 2 people on your team, you split that 50-50 with your partner to register for competitions. We do travel in non-COVID times. Our team does pay for hotels using sponsorship money that we get either from the university or our corporate sponsors, which are currently Greenberg Traurig and Hayes Boone. And so the cost of travel, sometimes I drive, sometimes other members of our team will drive each other. We usually like to carpool to the destinations because they're kind of far away. Texas Tech is in Lubbock. That's about 7 hours from the University of Texas. So it's best for everybody to carpool. And during that time, even though you're not asked to pay for the hotel, you do have to cover the expenses of your food while you're there. And that costs, we estimate it to be about $100 for each of our teams. And you also, we do ask you to chip in for gas money. Full scholarships and partial scholarships are provided to any student who's in need. And I do want to mention that some people come to Moot Court because they see the price tag on the mock trial team at the University of Texas. However, the mock trial team does offer full and partial scholarships. So if you're deciding to compete in Moot Court because you don't want to pay for the cost of mock trial, or you cannot, I would inquire with mock trial because they do offer scholarships, and they would be happy to offer need-based scholarships to anyone who can participate. Just in review, our team is entirely student-led. It was started by Shelby Hobum and is maintained by a number of our teams, as well as some of our alumni, which Shelby Hobum has since graduated, and she helps maintain our team in her alumni status. Although we have only been around for 2 years, we have a quite fantastic track record. We've had 6 teams advance to qualifying rounds, and we'd have 1 team advance to nationals. So if you have any more questions about Moot Court at the University of Texas or Moot Court in general, you can send us an email, which is linked on this YouTube page, which is texasmootcourt@gmail.com. And we hope this was informative. And well, thank you for watching, and Tookum.